Good morning, y'all ready to get going?
Yep.
All right, well, let's get rolling here, kind of folks, or kind of thing. So, this is our monthly sales meeting. And let me make sure I got my duckies in a row here. And so, I have a lot of information to cover like I always do. And I'm pretty excited about it. And so I kind of want to I'm just going to jump right in and start kind of getting into the nuts and bolts of everything that's really going on. So we're going to kind of start off with where are we at in the marketplace right now. And so I like to pull all of our data every month about where we're sitting. And so, by the way, all these slides, the branch managers will have all these slides by the end of the day. So if you guys want to share any of these, you're welcome to it. So you don't have to take pictures with your phone or that kind of stuff. We'll just give you the slides. These things can be really great to kind of share out. And so the first thing I want to kind of go over is, where are we at on closed sales this year versus last year? And so what you see that we're down 23% on total number of closed sales. And that's actually improving from where it was. We have been running in the 30s, 36%, 38% under last year. Now, you can see this year we're going up against last year's total closed sales. And last year's was a really good month. Y'all remember when the interest rates started moving up last year?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really next month. And so you can kind of see that we're going to start heading up into, we're going to start competing with next year. We'll start beating next year here in the next month or two, just on total closed sales. So Georgia MLS is down 23%, FMLS is down 26% right now, as far as where we just on the total number of volume of sales that we have going on right now. As far as pending sales is only down 17%. And again, I know that sounds bad, but pending sales is going to be a leading indicator of where we're going. And we had been running in the 30s. 35, 36% on there. So that's tapering down. So we are making a lot of headway and a lot of progress. This is almost all tied to interest rates and where we're kind of going with that.
Yeah.
So how about home prices? Because when you're consuming, when your clients say, how's the real estate market? This is what they want to know.
Okay.
They don't care about how many homes are being sold. They care, is my home worth less more today than it was last year or last week, and that kind of thing. And so you can see that both in Georgia MLS, it's up 1.6%, and FMLS, it's up 1.8%. So our property values continue to appreciate. Yes, and at a very healthy rate as well. Real estate appreciation over the last 50 years has averaged 4.4%. And so if we're in that, and I see us kind of being for the year in that 2 to 5% range here in Georgia, that should be a really good, safe place for us to be. Because that's something that is very, very doable for us. And so you can kind of see what's happened with home prices over the course of the last year. When we look at what's happened with overall change in values over the course of the last year, right? It's kind of been leveling off. And this comes largely from what the Fed's been doing. And the Fed put a hurting on us, which really, like real estate, I would say had the closest thing to their recession in like October, November kind of thing, because when the interest rates really spiked up, that's when we saw our total volume of sales really kind of go down. And so, but if you look at like what's happening with property values, it's not even across the United States. When you see national numbers, understand that a lot of times that's taking into account, especially California. And California has a huge, I'm going to say drain when you start looking at it, because the real estate market in Georgia is different than the real estate market in California. And even the real estate market here in Coweta County is different than in Atlanta. It's different. Real estate is still very, very regional. It's very, very local. And so we're still seeing a lot of good positive sales growth in the Atlanta area, especially in Georgia. Our total inventory of homes, is up about 25%. And that sounds really good, right? Like we need more inventory. We really do. The problem is that most of this inventory is getting a little bit older. And so you can see that we're up 25% in Georgia MLS. We're up 35% in FMLS, but we need this inventory. We need houses to sell. And so that's something that actually is really good. Now, and you can see that overall, though, inventory is tightening up. Overall in Georgia, that's down 4.5% month over month. And so we should be going into a time of year where our inventories are increasing, right? We're in our spring buyers market right now. And so spring, that's the time when we start seeing a lot more listings. However, that's not what we're really seeing. New listings are down in Georgia MLS 9.5%, and FMLS new listings are down 16%. And so like inventory is one of the biggest things holding us back right now, because we've seen interest rates dropping, but we haven't seen mortgage applications going up as much, simply because we don't have enough houses to sell. We need more inventory. And we'll be talking a little bit more about that. Days on market, cumulative days on market in Georgia MLS is 50 days. And FMLS, they measure it a little bit differently. It's 23 days. But, when you look at days on market, it says that, like it's up 228%. And our days on market up 228%. Yeah, but last year days on market was 7. Okay. And so this year days on market is 23. We're not talking like this is not 2007 again, all over kind of thing. So overall total months of supply that we have, we're sitting on 2 months of standing inventory. And we need 6 months of standing inventory to have a balanced market. To put that in, and so when you look at like 2021 and 2022, you think, man, that's really starting to increase. But when you put it into perspective, and you can see that, like back in 2019, 2020, we were at 4.3, 4.5, 4.8 months of standing inventory. And think about how the real estate market's been for the last 3 years. It's been really, it's been really crazy. And so when you see we're still sitting at 2 months of standing inventory, we just don't have enough houses. For the last, especially for the last 20 years, we've been making babies, but we ain't been building houses. And so we have a real shortage of houses out there. And that's one of the things that's kind of holding us back right now. And so you can say this is our year-over-year home price appreciation for the past year. And so even here, and you can see that depending on where you're at in the country, you can get some very different numbers. Like here and over in the Atlanta market, we're up 8.4%. And is that good?
Yeah,
It's good. It's almost too good. If I'm being real honest with you, and maybe too good is the wrong word, but like if you look at it over the last 3 years, property values have appreciated by 54% in the Atlanta area. I don't know anybody that makes 54% more than they made 3 years ago. So so we need to have a more balanced market moving forward, but it seems that we're running at a much more moderate pace right now. That's a much safer place for us to be, but that's where we were last year. Overall, you can see the US national number was 3.8% is what the property value appreciation was. But in Atlanta, we're here in the Sun Belt, and we're kind of driving the boat when it comes to that. So, but see, this is what's happened over the past year with property values. And so this is a change in home values. And remember when I said, we really saw in like August and September and October, like that's, when those interest rates really spiked and all those folks were having a lot of, remembering what, why didn't I buy a house when I could get a 3% mortgage? Why didn't I buy a house? And so all those folks decided that they were just going to kind of wait. And so we saw a dip, and whether you're looking at the Case-Shiller index or you're looking at the FHFA index, either one, you can see that like we dipped down. And now what do you see kind of happening with our trend right now?
oh my God.
It's coming back up. And so that's really important because, especially like buyers always think that they're going to try and buy, they want to buy the dip. They want to buy at the right time. And when is the right time to buy?
5 months ago.
5 years ago. It's always 5 years ago. It's always, I don't care what it is. Think about any time you're like, oh, I wish I bought a house 5 years ago. I wish I bought that 5 years ago. Everyone always says 5 years ago. And so that means that it's always pretty much a good time to buy because real estate appreciates over time. If you think about like would it have been good to buy in 2008?
Yes.
Well, look at where we are now. If you bought in 2008, like in 2008, you might, or 2007, 2006, even before the crash, would you be sitting in really great shape right now?
Yes.
Absolutely. And so, that's the whole thing about like this idea of timing the market, or I'm just going to wait. Well, if you're going to wait, like those folks are like, hey, I'm just going to sleep on it. Well, then you're not going to sleep in it, right? Because the market is not going down. So. But that being said, our overall affordability is incredibly low right now. Our home affordability is at some of its lowest points, and so it is improving. Overall affordability is improving right now, but it's not stellar by any means. And so we kind of have to know that kind of going into it. But now, what makes up affordability? Affordability is made up of property values, which are they going down? No. Plus interest rates. Are those going down? Yes.
A little bit.
Yep, we're seeing those soften. And then what are happening with wages?
They've gone up.
They've been going up, right? And so I understand we can't do a lot about property values and we can't do a lot about wages, but we do see interest rates coming down. We have seen wages moving up. And so, it isn't just property values. It's not the only thing that affects overall affordability. When you look at like in that affordability number that I just showed you up there, well, this is what affordability really starts looking at as if you took and you said, I want to take the average income in the South versus the average versus how much you need to qualify versus how much you make in order to qualify for the average home in the South. And so here in Georgia, the average person makes more than you need to be able to buy the average house. Now, how about in California or out on the West Coast? Yeah, not so much, right? Yeah, they're a little bit upside down. And so again, you can see that affordability number, while we know that affordability is definitely going to be a challenge, we need to know that we're actually not in terrible shape when it comes to there. Also, as interest rates are coming down, we've seen that the mortgage payment, as far as like, how much of your monthly revenue goes towards your mortgage payment, that's coming back down. As interest rates are softening, we're seeing where that number continues to move down. Does anybody think that we're going to be back in the threes? I don't.
Don't think so?
No, I absolutely don't. I think that the 3% and the 4% markets were really influenced because, that was when the Fed was really trying to influence the economy, because it was post-COVID, in there, and they were trying to stimulate the economy, and that's not happening right now. They were buying tons of mortgage-backed securities. They were doing things that kept interest rates really, really low, which they're definitely not doing right now. So I do see it coming back down. I see us coming back down into the range of the fives, but I really don't see it going much past that personally. I could be wrong. I just don't see it. So the good news is that for 4 weeks straight, we've had mortgage rates that have been dropping for 4 weeks straight. And it really does look positive as far as like moving forward. We should be moving into much more moderating rates. I really look at us being below 6 here coming into the summer, which will be really good for us. And so we even saw earlier in the year when rates were where they were now, we had a huge buy boom first part of the year when interest rates were low. Then we took a little bit of dip up, and then now we're moving back down. I mean, just in the past 4 weeks, that saved the average consumer about $140 a month, just in the drop of rates we've had. So it's a really big deal. Interest rates are still driving the bus for us. We have to understand that, and so you need to be very in tune with what's happening with interest rates, because like we can't affect, or we can't really control home values. Those are continuing to go up. We can't really control how much people are making. But when this happens, this really does affect our market. So we should be paying very close attention to what's happening with our rates. So overall, our mortgage rates are looking better. What can we do to help though? How can we assist our buyers, especially in this market? Well, but for a lot of our folks, are we looking at down payment programs?
Yeah.
I find that there's a lot of talk about down payment programs, and that there's also a lot of confusion about down payment programs. There's also a little bit of a stigma about some down payment. Some folks feel that like down payment, you must be poor, kind of thing. Is that the case? No, it isn't. And so and is a down payment buyer a bad buyer? No, we're seeing where as the market's starting to level off a little bit more, our sellers are a lot more open to good offers, regardless of down payment, that kind of stuff, down payment options and that kind of thing, down payment assistance. There was a time when we were in that crazy seller's market in 2001 kind of thing, and all the offers had to be cash with no due diligence. That's not where we're at now. We're moving into a much more balanced market. And so Georgia Dream has changed a little bit. And so I want to run through some DPA programs. Now, let me just clarify, I am not the lender, okay? But what I do want to do is equip you to be able to go get more information that you need, because there's a lot of programs out there, and you being the real estate professional need to know what options are out there and what will be right for your client. Now, Georgia Dream kind of goes everywhere in the state, and it's a big deal because they just upped the Georgia Dream amounts. The minimum amount of Georgia Dream is now $10,000. Used to be 5, so they took it up to 10,000 for either firefighters, personnel, emergency personnel, educators, nurses, that kind of stuff. It's 12,500. And for anyone that has a disabled person in their home with any level of disability, that's 12,500. Now on all these down payment programs, there's going to be basically a buy box. And what that buy box means, you can't make more than this. You have to have at least this much money down, that kind of stuff. And you're going to see the same thing. And so, like, you can't buy a house over $350,000 in Georgia. That's your limit here in the Atlanta area. Those are all the counties down there. And so, and you can't, and you need, the most you can make is $100,000 for 3 or more people in your family, basically. So you gotta have at least a 640 credit score. You know that down payment program out there for the folks with crappy credit? Because it's not there, okay, period. Like there is no program if you have crap credit. It's just like we just need to be straight up about that. Like, you've got to get your credit straight on there. They have to have at least $1,000 to put in themselves. They got to come in with $1,000. Now, Georgia Dream changed. Georgia Dream used to be forgivable. Georgia Dream is not forgivable anymore. It's a 0 interest to second mortgage. The 0% second mortgage on the home. So it's a silent second, but it's not forgivable anymore, at least at the moment. Now it was forgivable, then it wasn't, then the part of it was. So could they change that? It could. I just don't know that.
Maine wants you to share the screen.
Share the screen.
That's what she said.
What happened to my screen? I am sharing the screen.
He said right now he is on video.
Okay. Well, let me try this again here. Stop share. Share screen. All right, we're gonna try that one more time. Everybody see me now? Don't make sure everybody can see there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're good. All right. Sorry about that. Sorry about any technical difficulties there. So again, Georgia Dream has changed. So is 0% money bad money? No, I mean, it gets you into a home, but is it forgivable now? At least for the moment, it isn't. Will they go back? Maybe, maybe not. I have no way to determine what Georgia Dream is going to do with that. Now, what about USDA mortgages? Like, we're here in Newton, and so we're not far from USDA areas. And so is USDA a good choice for some of our buyers?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely is, kind of thing. You have to be on owner occupant kind of thing, can't have a co-signer in there. Again, your minimum credit score is 580, but most of your lenders are not going to work at 580. Most of them are going to want a 620. And so you have to make less than $84,000. But there is a time and a place where the USDA might be the right option, because both of these are very low cost, things that can help our buyers get in here. How about VA loans? 17% of our buyers right now are either veterans or active duty. And so when you talk about almost 1 out of 5 buyers is veteran or active duty, that's a pretty significant piece of our market out there. And so they get no PMI, no down payment on there. The big thing with them is they just have to meet their debt to income ratio. And so as long as it's not greater than 41%, then they're pretty much good on there. But is that a viable option for us to take for some of our buyers? And so I guess what I'm saying is like we don't want to get, or we have to get a little bit in their business, but we don't want to get, I don't want to see I don't want to see your credit report. I don't want to talk to you about that, but I do want to make sure that we're talking to our clients about what all the different options are, because that's really what this is. And like, as we kind of go through and I show some more of these, you're going to see some of these that won't pertain to your business, and some that will, but just be ready to kind of look at that. Chenoa, the Chenoa fund has two different down payment programs. One's a 3.5% forgivable, one's a 5% forgivable. And so, with that, you can get 3.5 to 5%. The big caveat is if you're ever late, you got to pay it back. Ever. Kind of thing. One of them is you can't be late for the first 3 years. The other one is you can't be late for 10 years. If you're late a single time, you got to pay it back. So they also have some forgivable, some non-forgivable, but again, this could be another option for buyers in a certain perimeter. For folks in Gwinnett County has the home stretch down payment program. Home stretch is a 5%. No, I'm sorry, $7,500. $7,500 in there. And so that one is forgivable as well. In DeKalb County has one as well. And so in there, minimum, notice what the minimum credit scores on all these are. What's the minimum credit score? 660. Yeah, 660 on this one kind of thing. And so, DeKalb has a little bit higher loan limits. They do go, they will do condos, townhomes, the whole 9 yards on there. And so, but you can't be past 45% debt to income on there. And so, they can get 1, 2, or 3% of the purchase price down payment assistance through DeKalb County. So if you're buying a home in DeKalb County, could that be the right option? Clayton County is another one. Clayton County has one. And so, a veteran can get $15,000 in Clayton County as opposed to 12,500 through Georgia Dream. And so, this one, the max price on for someone buying in Clayton County is $250,000. But the minimum on here is $10,000. And so you do on almost all of these, you're going to have to do some sort of home buyer seminar through there. They're going to do some sort of home ownership seminar in there. And so, but Clayton County, if you have buyers looking for Clayton County, it's between $10,000 to $15,000 is the down payment. And this one's been incredibly popular. Fulton County is another one that has a down payment program. And so, purchase price is only $272, but that's what it is. But you get $10,000 in Fulton County. Yeah. So, let's see. We also have the Atlanta Housing Authority, and AHA has their own another one as well, kind of thing. And so, on all these, you can't have too much money either. That's one caveat with a lot of these, whether it's talking Dream, these others, you can't have more than, on most of them, you can't have more than 20% of the purchase price. So you can't eliminate mortgage insurance on most of these kind of thing. And so, match in the Atlanta Housing Authority is $335,000 as your big purchase price. But again, we got Fulton County, Gwinnett County, Clayton County. I mean, all these counties have, and there's more than what I have on here. I'm just trying to highlight all these. And then Invest Atlanta has a whole nother set. So if you look at someone that's looking to purchase in Vine City has a separate one, just like the Perry Bolton area has one that's separate for those areas to try and stimulate growth and home ownership in these areas. So, what I'm saying is there's a lot of programs out there. We know that affordability is a challenge for a lot of our buyers. And so if we know that affordability is one of those things, they're having a hard time saving enough money. We know that property values are not going down. Well, then what can we do? There's a lot of programs in here that, and one thing that we're going to do kind of afterwards when we break up individually, kind of talk about some of those programs for each office kind of thing. But what I want you to look at is, as a listing agent, a DPA program should not, you should not count that buyer out. And for buyer's agents, look, this is a big deal that we can help to get more folks in more homes right now, to get people in. Wealth in the United States is tied up in home ownership. And so the average net worth for a renter is how much? You may remember? I told you all last month, so it's going to see who remembers. The average net worth for a renter in the United States, $8,000 is the average net worth for a renter. What's the average net worth for a homeowner in the United States right now? $300,000. So do you want to be part of the group whose net worth is $8,000? You want to be part of the group whose net worth is $300,000? Now you don't step into immediately $300,000 in equity. What I'm saying is that wealth in the United States is tied up in home ownership. So now, that's on the buy side. How about on the sell side? Right now, there was a new study just done, and I wanted to share some of the information with you because it's got some really interesting insights into what we need to be looking for as far as selling the home. It says, why are you considering selling your home? The number one thing out there is I want to take advantage of the current market. I think I can make a profit. Now, why is that important to bring up? Well, because these are going to be the messages that when you talk about them on social media, when you send out emails into your database, when you send out text messages into folks, and you say, hey, it's a great time to sell, the market's still really solid, you know, are you ready to cash out some and move up to a bigger, better home? That can be a very appealing message out there. The second one, my home no longer meets the needs of my family. And then, you know, kind of the third one's even in there. After so much time, we realize we need different features, that kind of stuff. So we're finding that folks, you know, like especially post-COVID, you know, like the house that we wanted before COVID came and the house that we want after COVID tends to be a little bit of a different house for depending on the buyer's individual or the owner's individual needs. Like, you know, before COVID, open floor plans was really the big thing. After COVID, everybody needs a Zoom room, they need private space, and they need a place where they can get away from the damn kids. Right now, I'm just kidding. But, you know, like we're just seeing that there's a change, right? And so, but you know, what I want you to do is to be able to take this information and share this out. So be able to talk about what are people thinking about selling, you know, what updates are they making? And so we're seeing it right now, even right now, landscaping, folks working on their yards out there, touch up paint, painting the exterior, the interior, appliances. Those are your biggies when it comes to as far as like what folks are doing to kind of get their house ready to roll. And then what the reason I wanted to highlight this is how long did it take you to get your home ready to sell? And you can see that, you know, overall, more time than I expected is the biggest share. Most people underestimate how long it's going to take to get your house ready to sell. And so that opens a very interesting door, a really good opportunity for us to talk to people ahead of time about what they need to do to get the house ready and try and get them up to speed, because that's one of their big regrets. One other thing that we're seeing right now is the boomers have the houses right now. So senior households, houses with no kids have risen as far as sellers by 51% in the last 15 years. So we're seeing a huge influx of the majority of our sellers right now have no children. Like the kids move out, that's when folks are looking to move in a lot of cases. And so you'll see that like so many of our sellers, like what happens after graduation? Well, you get the kids out, and mom and dad go move kind of thing. And so we're seeing that again, and you can see that that's been rising really steadily for the past several years. Now, when's the best week to sell your home? Next week. I'm serious, like next, and I know it's always one of the, hey, when's the best time to sell? Like right now. But like seriously, like right now is the best time to sell. And the reason I say that is right now is when we have the highest jump from the prices in the beginning of the year till now. We have 9.3 fewer sellers on the market. We have 16% more buyers on the market and 18% faster sales than any other time of the year. And so the reason I'm telling you that this is a really good thing to talk to folks about selling, because like as a listing agent, when you sell over the next 3-4 weeks kind of thing, I'm not saying that you don't have to do your job. Don't take that the wrong way. But when you sell over the next, you know, when you list over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we have more buyers, less sellers, homes move faster than any other time of the year, and we have good property value appreciation right now. So it's kind of like we're hitting that trifecta. And so you want to look really good, list a home over the next month. You're going to be looking really, really good. I mean, we all love being that listing agent, you know, like, hey, my average days on market is only 7 days. Well, yeah, when in a marketing condition like this, you can absolutely look that way. And it makes your job, how easy is it when you list a home and there's 25 buyers for it? That's what's kind of going on right now. We're seeing that happen at the moment. Now, that being said, when's the best, when should you list a property? And so I'm going to walk you through really quick how Megan and I list property basically. So first thing we do is we always schedule our photographer to have the week before, and then I need my images by the first part of the week. And so we go in and we wordsmith our listings, we get all that ready to go first part of the week. We input our listings into all the MLSs that we're eligible for. So even if it's not in a mandatory county, I'm still going to list it in FMLS, or I'm still going to list it in Georgia MLS, because I want as much exposure for my property as possible. And then you want to list your property on either Wednesday night or Thursday morning. Okay, why do you think that is?
People are gearing up for the weekend.
Well, when do agents set up their showings?
you know,
Thursday and Friday, right? And so if you'll do it Wednesday or Thursday morning, you can see that properties listed on Thursdays sell 5 days faster and for 6.4% more than homes sold any other day of the week. Well, think about it. You list that home on Saturday, and everyone's already set their showings up for the week. By the time everybody sets up their showing for the next weekend, that home's 7 days on the market, kind of thing. So now in our, when we list property, we list them on either Wednesday night, Thursday morning, and then we don't allow any showings on Thursdays and Fridays. And then I hold an open house on Saturday, or open house on Saturday and Sunday. And then we say, when we let everybody know, look, no offers will be reviewed until Tuesday. We'll have answers back to you on all that, because it never fails. You always get those folks like, I got a full price offer first. But when you do that, you end up with 25, 30 showings on a home, and there's all that activity going on in there. And so if you're going to do open houses, open house is not always necessary, and it's not always right for every seller. But for us, we just get a ton of activity and a ton of, and when it's much better to kind of go in with a solid plan. I find that so many agents, when they come to list, just wing it. I'm gonna put it on whatever day, as soon as it's in, I can get it out there. And then a lot of times we end up seeing folks who end up having to cancel their open houses because the house goes under contract. Well, why are you doing an open house anyway?
Buyers.
To get more clients, right?
Right.
So but if you sell it before you can do it, you're just gonna shoot yourself in the foot. But you could have scheduled it before, just like this. So think about how that really kind of works out. So now we just listed a property this past week, or I'm sorry, a week ago. And so we did this exact same formula. And in the process of that, it's funny how many folks call and how many agents would be like, and especially over the last month or two, I've had a lot of agents coming to me who's like this agent, we just had one who accused another agent of not presenting offers. And so, but is that always the case? And so like here's what's interesting is I got accused of that. It was my house, right? Like Ming and I owned the house, and I got a call from an agent who's like, well, did you submit my offer? Yeah, I absolutely submitted it. It even says in there that it's a licensed agent. Yes, I absolutely said, like, I saw it. I promise you. Can I get that signed on a piece of, can I get that signed? I'm telling you, but yeah, if you want me to sign it, sure, I got no problem on that. And so which offer is the best offer here? Which offer is the best? Well, I mean, for most folks, are gonna be able to offer 3. Buyer 3 is the best offer.
Right.
But a lot of times, if all you're doing is talking to your sellers about, hey, this is our offer price, you're missing on a lot of different things. So like when we present our offers, we present offers like this to our sellers, and we go through it. So it's like, this is our offer price. This is what they're asking for closing costs, due diligence, when it's going to close, earnest money, type of financing, contingency, who's the lender, does lenders matter?
Yeah.
Are they using a down payment? Any other kind of home warranties, termites, that kind of stuff. And then what's my net to seller? Because that's what really matters for most of the time. But a lot of times our sellers, what do our sellers see? If you just send them over one at a time, they're seeing this number.
Yeah.
They see that number. And so when you look at that now, what's the best offer? But it's funny, I went with number 2. We actually went with number 2 because it had no due diligence and $3,000 of earnest money. But is that the highest net to seller?
No.
Why didn't you reject my offer? I had a higher offer. Like, we hear that a lot, right? And so like we have to understand, we were selling our home. How many buyers agents called us and asked us what was important to us as sellers?
Oh, well, probably none.
None, not a single one. Because what you have to look at is when you really start putting into it, when you say, what's the best offer? So like Stellar A. Stellar A has, and this is real life. In the past month, these are sellers that we have right now. Stellar A has a ton of stuff. They need at least 60 days to move. What's going to be the best option for them? Oh, it's totally different, right?
Right.
How about Seller B? They just got transferred and they have to move in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Are they gonna go with a lower price cash offer that can close quickly?
Yeah.
Maybe, but you see what I'm saying, like the days of just like. Here, it's all cash and it's right away, that's not here. Seller C wants the most money possible. Well, the most money possible. That's 324.5, that's gonna be buyer 4, but that's a VA one. And so like we have to be ready for, that slows it down. Seller D, husband passed away, they're worried about making repairs. What's the best one for they're worried about making repairs?
Two.
Probably no due diligence, right? Yeah. How about the one that wants temporary occupancy, preferably for free?
Yeah.
Well, but how many of your buyers would say, yeah, I'll give you temporary occupancy if I can win that deal? But we find where a lot of times the buyer's agents, like on so many of these offers, I just got offers submitted, acknowledged. And we didn't get a lot of phone calls. Now we did get a couple that called, were very, very courteous, that kind of stuff. But ask what the seller, what's important to the seller. Because on most of these, I mean, like we listed at 324.9. We knew we listed it at a really good price. And we actually ended up coming in really close to where we were. And so we had about 20 something showings on it. We had really about 7 or 8 offers. We had a couple other low balls in there, but those are the ones who really made sense. And so, when you go through and you lay it out that way, one as a seller, it makes a lot of sense. And you're really representing your seller in a really good way. Also, when you go through and you have this kind of plan together, what does that seller say about how you show property, how you prepare property? Like when we go to our sellers, we're like, I really need you to leave the first weekend. They're like, what? I'm like, I really need you to leave the first weekend. There's going to be people coming all the way through this house the whole time. Best thing you can do is just leave.
Yeah.
Right. And then I can submit offers to you on Tuesday, multiple offers, and show all the people coming in on showing time, that kind of stuff. Who looks like they've got their act together as listing agent.
Yeah.
And then the buyer's agent, is it smart for me to go out and I understand not every listing agent will answer the phone, but is it smart to find out what are the seller's hot buttons? What really makes a lot of sense? Because that's something we need to be looking at. All right. Other questions about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, okay, one is that I want to ask about the net to sellers, 320, 500 hypothetical. Now, that doesn't include the agent's fee, right?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so that's not the true net. to
No, I
seller.
mean, we could put that in there for real. I mean, this was our property. We weren't worried about it. So yeah, we.
And the other things that when you have the temporary occupancy, once the buyer buys a house and the seller stays there, okay, the buyer has homeowners insurance on that property.
They need to.
So, yeah, but I'm saying like if something happens to that seller while they're in that house, now the new buyer owns it, would they be responsible?
The owner of the property is responsible.
Yeah, so that's a liability then.
It is. I don't love temporary occupancy, but depending on what the needs of the seller are and what the motivations of my buyer are, that might be the right time. We had a buyer who was 7 months pregnant.
Okay, Ming wants you to repeat that question.
Oh,
Okay.
I was asking about temporary
About
occupancy.
temporary occupancy. Yeah.
And then being
Yeah.
that like the new buyer has homeowners insurance on the house. And so they're responsible for anything that happens to anyone
Correct.
or the property,
Even though they're not living there.
even though they're
Yep.
not living there.
And so you're right.
That's a
Temporary
liability.
occupancy absolutely does increase the liability. We don't love temporary occupancy by any means. Okay. Matter of fact, I would love if we never did it, but that's not the reality of our marketplace. And
But is it anything that you can do to safeguard the buyer?
make sure that you complete the temporary occupancy form is probably the most important thing in there,
Okay,
because
now can
if
you
they
do
have to stay longer, you can boot them out.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like, what if somebody don't want to leave?
Well, with the temporary occupancy, you can evict them. Otherwise you create a tendency and then you have to deal with that.
Yeah,
Different.
$1,000 a day,
Yeah.
they'll get out.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. All right, I want to change gears really quick and I want to kind of get into story time here a little bit. And so there were two Russian artists. This is nothing to do with Ukraine or any of that kind of stuff. And so one Komar and Melamid, and I'm pretty sure I just butchered their names, right? And so these artists went and they did something really, really different. They went out and said, hey, we want to paint what people want us to paint. And so they went out and they started surveying US citizens and said, you know, what's your favorite color? Do you like sharp angles or curves? Do you like smooth canvases? What do you like animals in there? What do you want? That kind of stuff. And then they went and did, so they did that and they painted it, and it was pretty unimpressive. And then they went around the country. They went around the world. They did it in numerous countries. You want to see what the result was?
Yeah.
That's the result.
Wow.
Primarily a blue background, blue, with some kind of animals, soft edges, and that's pretty much kind of universal across the world. Would anybody like to buy one of those pictures? No one wanted to, and so like that's the whole. Is it nearly every country people wanted kind of the same thing, and despite opinions of 11,000 people from 11 different countries, all they got was just this big, bland average, just blah, right? But and is it just in painting?
Mhm.
How about this? What is this? These are coffee shops from around the world. Like that's Tokyo. There, over here is Berlin. One of these is in Atlanta. What do you notice?
What is
They
it?
all look the same, right? Just about as average. How about this? This is pulled from a wind tunnel of all the cars that they've done in the last year that they've run through the wind tunnel. Y'all notice anything?
Yeah.
Now they're all the same color on purpose, but other than being the same color, what else do you notice?
It's shape.
Like, does any of those stand out to you? No. How about this?
Oh,
Did you tell what city? I mean, you might know which cities those are, but do you notice any similarities?
yeah, they're all the same.
Yeah. How about apartments? Yeah. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down?
Yeah.
How about houses? What are we seeing on design trends right now?
All the same.
Yeah. How about realtors? Ooh, I'm getting in your business now. All right, yeah. Are we all the same? All right, are we all, but I mean, we got to be ready for that, right? Because like for so many of us, our goal is to be everything for everybody. And so we end up becoming so bland and so vanilla that there's nothing that stands out about us, kind of thing. And we think that we're listening to the marketplace, and we, but like look at Henry Ford, right? He said, if I asked them what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. He designed the Model T, right? And it was really urgent, but is that what everyone really wanted? I mean, and so like when we're looking at our marketplace, like agents can be very like there are a bunch of real estate agents. How do you make yourself stand out? Well, first thing is that you have to be willing to be different and be willing to be bold and talk about what makes you amazing. But one of the easiest things that I find is that if you can instead focus on the folks that you want to work with. Don't try and be everything to everybody.
Right.
You really need to focus on the folks you want to work with. And so it really comes down to who is your target clients. And you should have more than one. You should absolutely have more than one target client, but you should have a target client or a group of target clients who you try and appeal to. And so whether you're working with investors or first-time buyers or move up sellers or families or whatever, but you should have distinct groups. And the whole idea here is that can you become known for all things real estate in Atlanta? I mean, if you get enough of a budget and to go buy 500 billboards, I guess you can be like Mark Spain, right? But like most of us just don't have that budget. And so how do you get known in Atlanta? Well, you can't. But can you be known for working first-time buyers in this area? Can you be known for being the listing agent in this neighborhood, that kind of thing? You can absolutely be known. And then, you know, the whole idea here is that once you show expertise and you really talk about, you know, like you become known for certain things, you get other business, you know? I mean, like I don't ever do a short sale except for as a favor, because I'm never gonna market as trying to work a short sale. But we have plenty of folks come and ask us to help them with short sales. You know, we just listed a trailer on 5 acres out in the middle of nowhere. Right? Do I want to be the trailer park king? No, but I had a relationship with being known before. And so, you know, that's the kind of thing it comes about. But, you know, this idea of having a target client, I want you to really think about what that means. And so like your target client, are they going to be, and you know, even right now, I want you kind of work with me here a little bit. So think about, you know, is this target client, are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Are they an investor? You know, are they a renter? You know, are they a retiree, relocation? It doesn't matter, but you need to have a target client. And then the first thing you want to ask is, where is that? And the smaller the geographic location, the better. Like all the way down to a neighborhood or a small area, because again, you're trying to be recognized kind of thing. So, you know, what's that location? Where do they want to live? Where do they live? How old are they? And this is just so that you can, the whole idea is that you want to create this perfect picture of who this perfect client is that you want to work with. And then, you know, how much do they make, or what, you know, what's the average price point of their home? What's their, and what does their house look like? What's their home look like? You know, is it young families? Is it, you know, young couples? Is it LGBTQ couple? You know, whatever, doesn't matter. But really the biggest question that you want to ask is like, what are their concerns? Because is someone who's thinking about selling, do they have the same concerns as a first-time buyer? Or do they have the same concerns as an investor?
No.
So what do you think happens when you start talking about people's concerns? Will they listen to you? Will they be attracted to you? You see, the whole idea is that now I have, you know, these are the folks that I want to work with. But how do I get people that I want to work with? Well, you know, I start targeting my target clients by answering those questions. You know, like if I start talking about down payment assistance and getting you that first home and what it's like to, you know, the power of home ownership, who am I going to appeal to? You know, like, do I have to go out and say I want to work with first time buyers? No. If I start talking about property values and how much property values have appreciated and how long it takes to sell in today's market, and you know how you need to, you know, being a buyer before you're a seller, knowing where you're kind of going, what's going on with school districts, who am I attracting myself to? Right, you know, or if I go out and I start talking about, you know, the best areas to invest in and all these other kind of things, who am I attracting myself to? But see, this is different than what we see a lot of agents doing on social media or on any of their marketing. They're just trying to be everything for everybody. They look so vanilla. They look like everybody else. And instead of having any real conscious plan or target, it's that I want to be everything for everybody. So I throw out one thing about first-time buyers. I throw out one thing about selling. I throw out one thing about this or one thing about that. Does any message come across? No, because we're just trying to be everything for everybody. And what I really want to encourage you, don't try and be everything for everybody. Like if you want to make yourself stand out in the marketplace, work with people that you're really good at working with, that you really want to work with. And you will grow following of buyers and sellers that want to work with you. Instead of trying to compete with 1,000 million billion agents kind of thing, you're focusing on these type of clients in this area. And you can get recognized. You can stand out from that sea of same. You can not look like one of those 12 blue pictures that we saw earlier kind of thing, or one of those pictures of all the realtors look the same kind of thing. Because you know, like at the end of the day, I mean, first of all, these are people you want to work with. Are you going to do a good job working with people you want to work with? Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, when you reach out on the social media, these are the messages you say. When you reach out into your sphere and your database, when you send text messages and reminders, you know, phone calls, when you do your lead generation, having your elevator speech, all these things are where you are basically speaking out to the world. These are the kind of folks I want to work with. And it lets you kind of be much more unique and individual as far as that goes. Because what we don't want to end up with is this guy, right? Right, like, you know, everybody sees that one business card, right? But that's really what's kind of going on behind the scenes. He's changing a tire and he's gonna, you know, he's got a plunger kind of thing. Like, but y'all don't like my analogy? Okay, we have similar guts. I got it, right? This is not me, but you know, we are legal. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I didn't expect this was gonna be the best talking point here, but but you following me here, right?
Yeah.
But like, because what I want you to be able to do is take the data points that make sense, that speak to the type of clients that you're wanting to reach out. You know, take and steal any of these slides kind of thing, but rather than just throwing out all those slides, like which slides would appeal to a seller if you're trying to work with more sellers? Well, what information really appeals to thee? Use this kind of information, you know, to help grow your business and to help you stand out. There is no great value in being just one of everybody kind of thing, and just trying to wing it, because you know, realistically, this is not a professional real, and that's really what we do. So I really appreciate you guys. Thank you very much. I hope this was helpful besides the beer gut. Now we're gonna kind of switch to the local office here, and we're gonna kind of jump into our local offices. And then, you know, this is our top producers here. And so, you know, here in Newton, and so I'm gonna let everybody in the individual office take care of their own, and I'm gonna leave that up, and then we're gonna start talking more regional here kind of thing. So thank you guys. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you guys got some good information.